So back to what I was saying before about selling.
Yep.
And leading on from what you said, do you think selling is more about service?
I think it's more about the connection,
Yeah.
and the relationship that you can provide. And I'm a big believer in not over delivering that relationship. And by that I mean not trying to connect on too deep a level.
Yeah.
Because it makes it then difficult to have the difficult conversations that sometimes you need to have.
Yes. And
in real estate, I think that you have to have more of those difficult conversations than any other industry. Of things falling through and you know, not getting the prices that you thought you'd set out to do. Yes. So I think that I've always been a believer in keeping sales very, very simple. And number one in my 4-step process, I suppose, is building rapport. And people say you can't build too much rapport, and I couldn't disagree more. I believe you can not build enough and you can build too much.
Can I ask you on that? With something that I find difficult is kissing people that you don't know very well.
Yes.
Because you get to know them sort of well.
Yep.
You know those clients that, you know them sort of well, you dealt with them for a bit, but they... Do you want to take that call, mate?
That's our time. 15 minutes.
But, you know, what's your view on that? Like, because let's say there's an older lady that you deal with and she becomes friendly and you give her a kiss and hello, and then it becomes every time you see her, you've got to give her a kiss. And what do you think about that?
Look, I think it's there's a cafe that my partner and I used to go to regularly up at Terrigal. Yeah. And I got to know them a little bit just from going there, and we used to sort of shake hands, and suddenly that turned into a hug, and then they started kissing my partner, and she was kind of like, I don't want to kiss them. You know, can we start going to another cafe? Yeah. So we started going to another cafe, and that's the one we still go to today when we're up in Terrigal. So I think...
So is there a limit to rapport?
Look, I think though it's a matter of being knowledgeable about it and knowing your client, and this is where it keeps coming down to the fact of being smart enough, I suppose, to... how do I put it best? Be selfless, like I've just discussed, in not making it about you. It's not about, I'm not saying kiss someone on the cheek if the client wants to, it's not about you, but I mean actually just reading the client. Now, we probably don't have time to go through this in too deep a level. We might touch on it so we can get it on in episode 2. Yeah. But I used to always script my presentations and script them to the point that not only did I know the words in which I had to speak, but the actions which I would put to the words at that specific part of my presentation. Right. I'd work out how my eyes would move, how my mouth would move, and I'd also work out the tone of my voice, because the tone of your voice makes a massive difference on what you're trying to say. For sure, for sure. And the reason I would do that, some people would say you're not giving the client enough respect, and I completely think the opposite to that, and I've got a real... a passionate thought process on scripting. The people say, I don't script because I want to treat every client differently. And I disagree.
This is a whole nother video, I reckon.
If I let me just finish this part of it though, is that I believe you script because you're looking after the client. Yeah. And if I know exactly what I need to be saying, if I know exactly how to handle an objection, and I know exactly how to, I suppose how my presentation will be set out, I spend 98% of my time on the client. Yeah. Which means I see them...
Massaging in there?
Yeah, that's right. But I see them when they're uncomfortable. Right. I see them when they're happy. I see them when they're becoming too connected. I see when their buying temperature is ready there and then. So I'm not presenting for another 20 minutes past the time when they're ready to purchase. Yeah. And I'm not asking for the order when they're not ready
When they're not ready and they're not...
Yeah. Whereas if you're walking in cold and you're saying, I'm going to wing this, you're too busy thinking to yourself, what am I going to say next?
Yeah.
You know, what do I say now? And if you're looking to the side and you're looking up and you're thinking of what to say next, what does the client think of you then?
For sure.
I think you're being dishonest is the point.
Exactly right. And it breeds anxiety as well.
That's right.
What I was going to say is, like, for another video, not to cut you off, but I'm really interested in the scripts because I have a view on them as well. Okay. And I think it's more, not necessarily about the scripts, sort of like what you're saying, but the mechanics behind what you're saying. That's right. So let's leave this video here for now. I think we've touched on the selling, if you've got nothing else to say.
No, let's finish up and we'll see you back at episode 2.
Yeah.